Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You're in the Prog Corner. And what in the world are we doing today, man? Why am I ranking the Taylor Swift albums? Well, you know she's not prog. There's nothing prog about Taylor Swift. However, the longest #1 song in the history of the Billboard charts is All Too Well by Taylor Swift. So that's good enough for me, man. A 10-minute song hitting #1 on the Billboard charts. That's exciting, and I just love it. It brings me back to a time when, Alice's Restaurant and stuff, and non-prog artists were doing long songs, and that just really helped the whole musical scene develop and become just greatness out of the ashes of the terrible psychedelic scene and everything. We got our prog rock, but Taylor Allison Swift was born December 13th, 1989 in West Reading, Pennsylvania. I guess her family moved her out of Pennsylvania and, down into the country where she developed a love for country music. She got signed by Scooter Braun at 14 years old and signed to Big Machine Records. And of course, everybody they don't want to talk about her music. They want to talk about her love life, whether it's Harry Styles or the dude from 1975, or now she's got Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs on her arm. We talk more about her love life than we do her music, so we're going to correct that today, and I'm going to rank all 10 Taylor Swift albums in order of greatness from worst to first, and we are starting with her debut album that came out in 2006. The girl was 16 years old when she dropped this, people. She looks a little different now, doesn't she? This very young Taylor Swift when she was still writing 13 on her hand and all that ridiculousness. But this gave her her first taste of stardom. This was the only Taylor Swift album that did not hit #1. There are 10 albums, and 9 out of the 10 have hit #1, except this one. This one hit #2. Tim McGraw was the first single. It didn't do that great. It only hit number 40. I'm really surprised about that. But the next single, the second single dropped was Teardrops on My Guitar. That hit number 13, and that kind of set her up for superstardom. The other singles that were released here, Our Song hit number 16. Picture to Burn hit number 28. Should Have Said No hit number 33. And this is the first of 5 albums that were really dominated by Nathan Chapman, his production. He did a little bit of writing. Taylor wrote or co-wrote like 11 of these songs. So right from the get-go, Taylor Swift was a songwriting talent to be reckoned with, but she was still figuring out who she wanted to be, what she was all about. So the first record isn't my favorite record, but it's still dynamite. At number 9, we're going with her second album, Fearless. Oh yeah, a little more pop. This one came out in 2008. Little more pop, a little less country, but this was the one that had the song that really set the tone for what Taylor would do for the next few years. Of course, the song is Love Story, hit number 4 in the U.S. White Horse was the second single, hit number 13. You Belong With Me hit number 2. 15 hit number 23, and the title track was also released as a single. That hit number 9. This is a good record. I don't have the original. This is the remake, Taylor's version. I've only got, this one and the next one, Taylor's version. But I'll probably end up getting the originals at some point. Fearless is a good record. Definitely a transition record. She would be doing a lot better stuff than this in very short order. And that's where number 8 comes in. Her third album that dropped in 2010. At this point, this is Taylor's version, not the original. This one just came out like 6 months ago. But this was her third album, and this was where she did all the songwriting from this point on. Before this was dropped, she had a single called Today Was a Fairy Tale that hit number 2. I think that was from that movie Valentine's Day, that awful rom-com with a cast of thousands. Mine was the first single off of this, hit number 3. Back to December hit number 5. Mean hit number 11. The Story of Us hit 41. Sparks Fly hit 17. and Ours hit 13. So there were 7 singles dropped on this album. Speak Now, her third album, a good record, a little more rock. You know, the country and the pop is certainly there. There's a little rock flavor on this album, and that's why I prefer it to Fearless. But now we're getting into some good stuff. These next 7 records I actually like a whole bunch, and the reason that I'm doing a Taylor Swift ranking, why not? At number 7 from 2019, it's Lover. I like this album. I don't love this album. Probably because the big hit was Me. And I do like Panic at the Disco, but I just didn't really care for that song too much. It hit number 2 on the Billboard charts. The second single was You Need to Calm Down. That hit number 2. Lover hit number 10. The Man hit number 23. And then they reissued a single off of here. Cruel Summer was never released originally, but they dropped it over the summer. Made sense. Hit number 1. Yeah. Taylor Swift bringing back a song from, 4 years prior is a big summer hit. But yeah, I like Lover. It's a good record. But man, I really enjoy the next 6 even more. And at number 6 from 2020. In fact, this was her second album from 2020. And it's Evermore. Yeah, this was a lot of Aaron Dresner from The National, a little bit of Jack Antonoff, whereas the one that came out before was kind of a 50-50 split between those two cats. Aaron Dresner from The National and Jack Antonoff from, that other band. You know who they are. Willow hit number 1. No Body, No Crime, which was a song with Haim, hit number 34. Not a big hit. Then Coney Island, which was done featuring The National. That didn't do much either. That hit number 63. A good record. I like this record. But I do prefer its predecessor a little bit. I got Evermore at number 6 on the countdown. At number 5, from 2017, it's Reputation. This was her last for Big Machine. After this record, she went off and broke free and started doing her own stuff. You know, she had a real bad contract, I guess, and now she's on Republic. This was the last one for Big Machine, and it did really well for her. The leadoff single was Look What You Made Me Do, hit number 1. Ready For hit number 4. Endgame hit number 16. There were a couple singles off this that didn't even chart. New Year's Day and Getaway Car. Good songs, but yeah, I understand why they didn't chart. And Delicate hit number 12. Chock full of great songs. I love this album. This was kind of in response to, all the stuff that was going on and all the hate Taylor was getting, and just a dynamite record, a real tour de force. Absolutely. But now, boys and girls, the top 4. At number 4, her most recent one. This one just dropped this year. It's called Midnights, and this is all Jack Antonoff. I guess we're done with the National, at least for a little while. Midnights, 13 songs about stuff going on at midnight. And man, these songs are great. Anti-Hero hit number 1. Lavender Haze hit number 2. Karma hit number 2. She changed the words for Karma to add something about the Kansas City Chiefs in there, which is real cute and real touching. This is a dynamite album, very relaxed, very chill. If you want to listen to something at midnight, I can think of a lot worse records you could put on than Taylor Swift's Midnights. Just a dynamite record. At number 3, we talked about it already. It's Folklore, the first album from 2020, and I do prefer this to Evermore. They're both really good. They're both kind of similar sounding records in that they both utilize the talents of Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dresner, but there's more Aaron Dresner on here, and it sounds a little bit more like The National, so I do like this one better. Cardigan hit number 1, Exile hit number 6, and Betty hit number 42, but it's some of the songs that were not released on singles that really get me excited about this album. The Last Great American Dynasty is an amazing track. Invisible String is incredible. Might be my second favorite Taylor Swift song. And Epiphany's really great. Dynamite album. I love this thing. But now we're into the top 2. there's 2 albums from Taylor Swift that I absolutely adore above all others. And at number 2, I've got 1989. This is the original cover. Came out in when did that album come out? 2014. 1989 came out, and it led off with the incredible Shake It Off, hit number 1. The second single was Blank Space, hit number 1. Style hit number 6. Bad Blood hit number 1. Wildest Dreams hit number 5. Out of the Woods hit number 18. And then New Romantics hit number 47. But we're not done, man. When this dropped, the new version of it, they released a couple more singles, non-LP stuff that was recorded during these sessions, but dropped on the new Taylor's version, and that includes a song named Slut, which hit number 3, and a song named Is It Over Now, which hit number 1, her 11th number 1 hit. She's the first artist in history to replace one of her songs at number 1 on the charts with another one of her songs. She's done it twice. Only one who's done it twice. Is It Over Now actually replaced Cruel Summer as number 1 on the Billboard chart. Like I said, her 11th number 1, just incredible. But yeah, I've got one that I like even better than all of those. For you Swifties out there, you know what's number 1. Yes, you do. We're looking at the original. This is the Big Machine version. And then this is Taylor's version. I like both album covers. They're both really cool. But Red is my favorite Taylor Swift album by far. I love this thing. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Yeah, it hit number 1. Begin Again hit number 7. I Knew You Were Trouble hit number 2. 22 only hit number 20. I'm surprised. That's a great song. I thought it was a top 10 hit. Red hit number 6. Everything Has Changed hit number 22. And when they reissued Red, they brought back the original version of All Too Well. The original version was like 5 minutes long. It was co-written by Liz Rose. I guess the original, before they recorded it, was like 12, 14 minutes long, so they had to cut it down. Taylor was like, you can't put a 10-minute song on an album. Well, when she did Taylor's version, she did just that. It's over 10 minutes long, and it was released as a single. The longest single ever to hit number 1 in the history of the Billboard charts is All Too Well, over 10 minutes long, by Taylor Swift. Is it a prog track? Yeah, it's not a prog track, but it's a great track. It tells an amazing story. It's super emotional. And, at that running length, you can kind of close your eyes and maybe squint a little bit. And maybe it's a little proggy. I don't know. But you know what? Honestly, I don't care. I love Taylor Swift. I've been wanting to do this episode for a long, long time. And I've been advised against it over and over and over. They tell you, stay in your niche. Don't confuse the algorithm, right? Well, that's what I'm doing today, man. I'm confusing the living bejesus out of the algorithm today. We're talking about Taylor Swift, an artist I absolutely love. I promise I won't do this again, all right? I try to stay in my lane. I won't go too far off the reservation, but I just had to do a Taylor Swift ranking. You guys know how much I love her. Anyway, tomorrow on the show, I promise you guys another ranking, and I'm doing it. It's going to be Chicago. We're ranking all the studio albums from the great Chicago, and then maybe as the week progresses, I'll take a look at the best prog rock albums of 2009. We did 2010 last week, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. So I'm looking at doing 2009, perhaps later on this week. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. The year end is coming up real quick. So I got to start thinking about all my year-end content. But anyway, guys, I love you. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet. And God save the king. Save King Chucky III. That son of a gun needs your saving. Save that boy. Save him right now. I'll see you tomorrow, friends. Peace.